Hello, everyone. This is Dr. B from Steps to the Future, coming to you with another College Conversations with Dr. B. This evening, I am thrilled to have my guest on this evening who is going to tell us about her business, her college and career pathway to her business. As most of you know, this is National Women's Small Business Month. So hopefully for the next 3 Mondays, I will be introducing you to some women who own their businesses. Again, this is in addition to being National Women's Small Business Month, this is also another episode of Representation Matters. Those of you that know me know that I am committed to showcasing, honoring, and celebrating Black and Brown career professionals through this particular forum. So thank you for joining in. Those of you that are watching, please, you're always welcome to join in the conversation by putting in your comments. And please make sure you share this out with people because we do want people to log on and learn. We'll be right back in a few seconds. And thank you so much for coming back. So I am going to bring on the screen this evening's guest, and I will tell you a little bit about her. So we have with us this evening the incomparable Stacie Simfukwe, who is a military wife, mother of 4. Yeah, they are beautiful. They are gorgeous kids. And she's the owner operator of Household 6 Catering. It's an online bakery and mobile kitchen that is based on brunch. She's also the host of Simply Cooking that is filmed at Fayetteville State University. Stacie, welcome so much to College and Career Conversations.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. B.
You are welcome. So, folks, as I said, this is National Women's Small Business Month. And one of the things you'll hear from Stacie this evening is I don't know if I would call it balancing act, maybe more juggling that women who are small business owners have to do. So as you notice, Stacie is sitting in her car because she's also doing double duty as a mom, and her young daughter had ballet lessons. So that's why this happens. But this is one of the lessons that you will learn if you haven't heard this already, that being an entrepreneur is a juggling act all the time. So Stacie, let's start out with telling us a little bit about who you are as a college student. So talk to us about your education.
Oh, okay. So my education is very, very different. It's different as far as when I went to school online. And my education, I went ahead and I was basically raising 2 children and going to school at the same time. I got my BS in business management. And that took me a long time to do it, but it got done. I also, I actually I had a certification in emergency medicine. So I was an EMT. There's a lot of stuff that I do, and it's like everywhere. But I'm a military spouse. And I had to kind of twist and turn what I wanted to do around my family. So it's a lot of pretzels going on.
A lot of pretzels. I love that. I love that because, again, we were talking earlier, folks, before we went live about all the twists and turns, and that there is not a straight pathway when you're an entrepreneur. It will lead you in places that you didn't know you could go and survive. So tell us about your business.
Okay. Well, I have an online bakery, as you mentioned before. We specialize in gourmet granola. So we make all of our granola. We make small batch granola. So we make all kinds of flavors like PB&J, pina colada, honey almond. And we make all of our granola very, very fresh. Our granola is light and delicious. And we also recently, at the start of COVID, we purchased a mobile kitchen unit, and which is a cute way of saying food truck. We purchased a food truck and started that journey, and that was something to get used to.
Yeah.
It wasn't difficult because I really love to cook, but food truck life is not what you think it's going to be. Very
so,
different.
so let's back up a little bit. So tell us about how did you decide that your food of choice was going to be granola?
Okay. Well, what happened was, well, my husband came down on orders, and we ended up. He came down on orders to be a drill sergeant, so we ended up out in Missouri. And where we ended up at Fort Lawson Woods, and there is nothing there. There probably is stuff there now, but back then, I mean, the mall was Walmart. So there was nothing there, and there wasn't a big selection of granola. When I started eating a lot of granola, it was because I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had terrible morning sickness, like terrible morning sickness, and the only thing I could keep down was granola. But I got bored with the granola that was offered there because there's like nothing there. So I was like, that's it. I'm just going to make my own. Started making my own granola. We ended up PCSing back to Fort Bragg, and I had my daughter, and my family still loved the granola very much. So I was still making granola. So one day, I'm at jujitsu practice with my kids, and my kids are eating granola. One of their friends decided they wanted to try it, and the mom was like, my kids really like your granola. And I was like, yeah. She was like, how much would it cost for you to make some for me? And at that moment, I was like, could I make a business out of this? I was still trying to figure out what I want to do. I did just have a child, but I've never been a person to stay at home or stay put. I've always been very active. I got to be involved in something.
Right.
So I went and I started making granola for people and tried to, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I was like, I'm going to try this and see if I can start a business with this. Did all the research I possibly could do about, commissarying, or what kitchen can I use, or can I do home processing? Started just researching the crap out of it. And then I went ahead and I just started my business. I had absolutely 100% no clue what I was doing. None.
And that is one of the things that people will learn as they decide they want to be a small business owner. Sometimes you just kind of step out on faith, and
Right.
it can get hairy sometimes. So for those of you that is just joining us, we are with Stacie Simfukwe. Stacie, I always stumble over your last name. I don't know why. All these years I have known you, I still stumble over your last name. That is
Oh my,
crazy.
that is crazy. You know what? I'm so used to it. Don't feel bad.
I know. Stacie is the owner of Household 6 Catering. So for those of you that are joining in, please make sure if you have a comment, join in that conversation. And please make sure you share this out. Those of you watching it on the replay, you can always put your questions and comments in there later, and we will definitely get back to you about it. So Stacie, tell us a little bit more about your granola. How did you decide what flavors to create?
I base my flavors on what I like to eat. Like my first four flavors that I made was honey almond, pina colada, chocolate almond coconut, and oatmeal and fruit. And it's really stuff I like to eat. It's stuff my kids like to eat. I love coconut. I'm obsessed with coconut. Y'all have no idea. Um, so, and chocolate, of course, I love chocolate. So it was just like all the flavors that I like. I decided to just do that. And my oatmeal and fruit is a blend of spices. So it's like all different. It's not just cinnamon. It's all kinds of spices blended together to make oatmeal and fruit. And it's not just raisins. It's like cranberries, blueberries, cherries, and cranberries. We just throw all the fruit in there so it can be really delicious. And that's the one I like to have like on top of my oatmeal.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So tell me how. So when you first decided that this was going to be what you were going to do with your granola, how did you market yourself? What was that like? Because that's a whole nother piece of being an entrepreneur that
Right,
takes on a life of its own.
right. Initially, it was word of mouth. It was just family and friends. It was just people closest to me that wanted to support my dream, wanted to support what I was doing. And, they would buy a couple bags here and there. And I mean, and then word spread that it was like, this is really, really good granola. So that's how I initially started. And then I discovered social media for business.
Yeah.
And then I started promoting my products on Facebook. And then, you just learn, you learn as you go because I
Mhm.
had no idea what I was doing. Not a clue.
So folks, I have to attest to the honey almond. That is one that yeah, I was getting kind of addicted there. I wouldn't say it travels well. So when I would go on college tours, I had to go to a conference. There would be a bag in my suitcase because it makes for a great late night snack straight out the bag. You don't even need yogurt or milk with it. You can just eat it by the handful. So I can attest to its flavorfulness. It's I don't know, it has its own taste.
Yeah.
I don't know. It like I said, it's addictive. It
Oh,
is
yeah.
addictive. It's addictive. So you were talking about, making it in small batches. So what does that look like? What is the process that you actually go through from, you know, buying your ingredients to making it to the finished product?
Oh, wow. That's a lot of steps.
Yeah.
Um, some of our ingredients are hard to find. Because we use oats, of course, but we also use puff cereal, puff brown rice cereal as well. And that is an ingredient that is always troublesome. We have a hard time getting it. We have to order it in bulk. And um, it is a process. And when we do small batches, usually if you go to a factory, they have these huge conveyor belts, they have these huge drums where they mix all the ingredients, and we do not do that. We have bowls. We have big bowls that we stir it in. We have long, cookie sheets or cooking trays, baking trays, and we put everything on there and we bake up the granola. And it is a process. Like, we are painstaking. When we get the oats are always toasted. We toast the oats. We don't buy it pre-done, none of that. We toast oats ourselves. We do everything ourselves. And when I say we, I also mean my children, because they're part of the business, and
Okay.
they know how to make granola as well, because this is my legacy that I'm leaving for them. So it is a process that is painstaking, but at the same time, it is done with love. And I think that's the difference between our granola and everybody else's, is because we genuinely care. We want to make sure you're getting the best granola. We want you to sit there and be like, you know what, this is amazing. We want this to be a contribution to whatever it is that you're doing.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about how your kids are involved.
Uh, so when I started Household Six, I think my oldest was, um, he was 8. My oldest was 8 when I started. He's 18. Oh, well, he'll be 18 in December.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah.
I
So
can't
time
believe he's
flies.
going to be 18.
Can you believe it?
Oh my God.
You gotta see him. You haven't seen him in a while.
No,
Um,
I haven't.
we just got his senior pictures back, and I'm just like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. He's still my baby. The senior pictures came in. I pulled out his baby pictures. I was like, I remember when you were just this little. I'm just not ready. Um, but well, he got involved. I started with my oldest.
Mhm.
When I started the business, my daughter was 2. So there's really not much she could do.
Right.
But when I started, my son, he helped me like bag the granola. So he was learning that. He was learning packaging, and he was learning labeling, and he was learning presentation and how important it is for it to look right.
Hmm.
And slowly became my other children. I have four, as you mentioned before. It started, all of them starting to, okay, I'm going to bag the granola. And my son graduated from bagging the granola to putting the granola on the cookie sheet and stirring it in the bowl. And, it started progressing. And even now we have a mobile kitchen unit. And my boys, they're working the window. They're making the sandwiches, or they're making some of the product that goes out the window. So they're helping with the entire process. My daughter, she makes all the drinks on the truck, all the sweet tea and lemonade. If you love it, that's little Steffi. She did that. So it's all this process of really just going step by step by step, and building it as you go, and teaching, making sure that they're present to see the process. I think the biggest lesson my kids have learned is the importance of process.
Okay.
And doing things in the way that it needs to be done. Because my kids always ask, well, Mom, why do we have to add this ingredient at this time? Why can't we just dump it all together? And I'm like, because it won't come out right. And we've had incidents where, I have sons, and sons learn. My daughter, I can explain it to her. She gets it. It's over. My son, he has to see it. My boys have to see it. So we have messed up batches on purpose so they can see, this is why we have process. This is why we do things like this. And they've come to appreciate process, and they come to understand, things have to be done in a particular way.
That's so great, Stacie, because one of the things that we're always talking about is, how do we give our kids real world experiences? I always tell my kids, that are applying to college, I said, whether you go to a 4-year college, a 2-year college, join the military, or what have you, we're all going to work. We're all going to work.
Absolutely.
And there are certain things about work that no matter what you do, they look the same.
Yeah.
So your kids getting that leg up on how to not just go to work, but when you talked about the process and explaining to them why ingredients have to go in the order in which they go in, that is such invaluable information that they'll be able to transfer to any aspect of their life, and learning how to negotiate with people. So one of the things I remember is, when you're at a vendor event, or one of the fairs, or something at Festival Park, or at Dirtbag Ales, watching your kids run the stand.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that is amazing to see them do that. They're telling you what the price is, they're making change, they're providing excellent customer service, please and thank you. They're able to explain what the products are, and everything. So it's so obvious they know all aspects of the business on that side. So what do you think when you see them actually doing it?
Sometimes it's a little pat on the back, like, okay, I did it. And sometimes it's like, okay, so we got to work on this. That was great, but let's tighten up on here. And, as a mom and as a entrepreneur, I think the difficult thing about working with your kids is you have two minds at the same time. You have one mind that's thinking about things as a business owner. As a business owner, some things are more serious than as a mom. You're more forgiving as a mom. You're like, oops, they don't know. So we're gonna work on this. But as an entrepreneur, you're just like, okay, I'm losing dollars while you're trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
So that has been the challenge of working with my kids, is remembering to switch off hats. And it's to the point that we have a process, or we have a thing that we do, that when we hop in the truck to go to an event, I'm not mom. They're not allowed to call me mom when we're out. It's ma'am when we go. And then when we get home, it's mom. Okay, mom, whatever. Once we're done and we've cleaned up and everything, now I'm mom. Now we can do the mom thing. But when we're on this truck, when we're doing business, I'm ma'am. So I'm going to be hard on you. And I'm going to demand that I get this. But the mom in me, when I see my
Mhm.
son, like when I see my oldest, when I see him check out a customer and this customer is like super happy and he does the upsell properly and he does, he lets them know what next event we're going to be at. And when he does all that, I'm just like, okay.
Mm.
And the entrepreneur side of me is like, okay, so how much is going in his bonus? Because all the kids get paid too.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, so end of year bonus, you're going to get a little extra because you're on top of it. And the kids get evaluations and everything. I want them to learn that this is a business.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is so important. And for folks that are out there listening, either live or on the replay, it's so important that if you are an entrepreneur, that you get your kids involved. Because earlier today, I was listening to, actually, it was a LinkedIn Live interview with three presidents from HBCUs. And the
Mhm.
president of Benedict College in South Carolina was talking about a new entrepreneurship program that they have started there. And she was talking about, the ability that they have now to help students, that what used to be a student side hustle now becomes their business while they're in school, but
Right.
they're getting all of the assistance and with marketing and with developing your product and creating packaging and everything. And when I heard that, and I said, wow, wouldn't that be cool if everybody had the opportunity to learn entrepreneurship
That
skills?
part. Yes.
Because I don't care what we do, we're all in the business of selling one
Yes.
way or another. We are
Yes.
all in the business of selling. And
Yeah.
with your kids getting that real experience, it's not something like, okay, let's go out here and see what this is like. They know
Right.
this is a real business, guys.
Right.
This is a real business. This isn't our hobby. This isn't
Right.
something mom's doing on the side when she has time. This is what's paying bills.
That part.
So we need to be taking care of business and watching them, and like I said, I haven't seen them in a while. I've been like super isolating with COVID, so I haven't really seen
Yeah.
too many people. Um, but I know the last time I saw them, just watching how they interact. I mean,
Yeah.
they've learned skills that they weren't going to learn in school.
No.
That they weren't going to
No.
learn in school.
And I mean, it's funny to me because my middle son, he's struggling with customer service right now.
Okay.
This is something we keep going over. And he's like, Mom, I just don't like, he was like, how did you learn to do good for customer service?
Mm.
I said, when I was an EMT. EMT taught me to have good customer service skills because you are dealing with people at some of the worst moments of their life.
Mm.
And and it is a life or death situation, and it is that serious, and it is that deep. So when you are helping somebody and you're trying to help them come to grips about what happened or what we need to do, whatever procedures we have to do on them or whatever we have to do with them, and deal with their families,
Mm.
you learn a lot about connecting with people. You learned a lot about listening to people, and you learned a lot about how can I make this experience, even though it's a terrible experience, how do I make this more bearable?
Right.
So I learned all my customer service, the best customer service skills I've learned was when I was an EMT. And so I relate to my children. I'm like, the customers come to us not only to get good food, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not it. That's great, but they also come for an experience. They want to have fun at our truck. They want to have a good time. And that's why we play music. And sometimes we're goofing off on the truck and we're laughing a little bit, but business comes first. Um, and we want them to have a pleasant experience. So when they come, they eat, they jam out, and then they go on their way. We just made a small impact in their life. So my kids are, I mean, my pride.
Yeah.
They make me so proud when they are I could step off the truck for a few minutes and I know that the world isn't going to come to an end, that they got it.
That they got it.
So, yeah, so it makes life just great. I'm like, okay, so I'm not worried about your next stage. You already got it. You already got these skills. And I have to say, like, when I was coming up, my mom, my parents divorced when I was 7. My mom, she did not have the opportunity to be an entrepreneur. She would just work jobs that she didn't like. And after seeing that for, my whole childhood, I was just like, that is not going to be me.
Mm.
And that is not going to be my children. I want them to know that they have options. If they want to work a job, that's fine. If they want to have a career and they are working for somebody, that's fine. But I want them to always know, you know what? I have another option.
Right.
I don't have to be stuck at this job. If I don't like this job, then I need to take my skills and bet on myself and make something happen.
I love that. For those of you that are just joining in, we're with Stacie Simfukwe, who is the owner of Household 6, which makes the most delicious granola in the world. And as a matter of fact, let me see if I can share my screen with you. This is Stacie's website for Household 6 Catering. And as you can see here, it's, granola all day, and you can order online, and there's some stories. You can follow her on Instagram. You can order gift cards. So for those of you who aren't sure what flavors people will like, get them a gift card. And as you can see here, as I scroll down, you've got the peaches and cream granola, the chocolate chip granola cookies. Those are good. Those, those are addictive, folks. I'm telling you. Okay, so I never had the whoopie pies. I'm
Oh,
gonna have to
wow.
try those. But again, here's all the different flavors of granola. This is my absolute favorite. This honey almond granola. It's just one of those things where you start eating it and then you look at the bag and you're like, what? How'd I get to the bottom of this bag? Like, no, I just opened it and was just, eating a little
Right.
bit. I wasn't trying to get rid of it that fast, I don't know,
Yeah.
but it is very addictive. It is very addictive. So we have a comment here from someone. Oh, Tracy Sharon. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy is saying good evening that the good evening that the granola looks delicious. Tracy, it is delicious. Tracy is the director of library services at Methodist University. So Tracy,
Wow.
thank you so much for joining us. And she's been a
Yes, thank
past
you.
guest. She's been a past guest. So thank you for joining in. So tell me how you went from, because I know, like, when I met you, I would see you at different vendor events and we'd see each
Right.
other. And then at one point we were both in Revolutionary Co-working, which is a co-working space. So tell me how you moved from how you were doing it initially to deciding to go with a food truck.
So little hiccup. So what ended up happening was we were going to go ahead and open an actual bakery. We were going to do the granola, of course. I had a whole setup and idea and how I wanted to do it. And then it became about the numbers. It became about, okay, I have a family, I have kids. My husband is still active duty in the U.S. Army. So how am I going to run a store and keep up with my kids when my husband deploys? Because he's going to do that.
Right.
Or trains or whatever, because he's still, doing whatever the Army commands him to do. So it was all about, okay, I would have to wait a considerable amount of time. And I got to a point in my business where we were growing at a rate that we were starting to lose money. Okay. Because, you get to that point where you're going to have to get a loan to expand to get to the next level, which is all great things. So the food truck became my middle. And it became, okay, this is something that's cost effective. This is something where I can go ahead and I can make my hours. If my husband's gone, if he's here, I have a viable business that I can literally pick up and go anywhere with. And, it's more manageable. You can't have a storefront and just be like, okay, Tuesday we're closed. Wednesday we're open, Thursday we're not. Then the next week you have different hours. You can't sustain that. So the food truck was just the best choice.
Okay. And this is important. We're here in Fayetteville. And for those of you that are familiar with Fayetteville, you know that Fort Bragg is here. So
Mhm.
there is always military spouses who are looking for opportunities to have a career, because you do move so often, or you're not always sure when you're going to move.
Yeah.
I guess it gets better as time goes on, but again, I know. I'm saying that as a non-military spouse. My husband was out of the service when I met him, so
Okay.
I never had to travel or be part of the military life. So
Right.
I just see folks here who
Hmm.
I see some women out there that are, I just tell I don't know how you do it. But I guess you do it because that's your life. So you have to
Yeah.
figure out how to do it. We have another comment here from Tracy, and she's saying that we might be reaching out for an event. So
Okay.
so Tracy, thank you so much. That'll be great. And if you did want to get in touch with Stacie, this is all of her contact information. So for anybody that's interested, you can find Stacie on Facebook. You can find her on Instagram, and you can also check out her website that I had up earlier. So please make sure that you do that. And this information will all be in the show notes. So you can always go back and check out that information in the show notes. So Stacie, tell me about, so I know that on certain Sundays you're out at Dirt Bag Ale. So explain to people how that came about and exactly what that is and what that means and what that looks like. Because there are so many, I think, people think of entrepreneurship. I'm just going to own my
Right.
own business. I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to take care of that. I'm not going to
Right.
work for anybody else. But there are
Yeah.
so many moving parts.
Yes.
There are so many moving parts. So how did Dirtbag Ales become a part of your
Okay.
life?
Well, Dirtbag, wow, Dirtbag, I have to say, had a huge part to where Household Six is now. It's part of the reason why I have a mobile kitchen unit because um so Dirtbag Ales once upon a time was at a certain part of town and they expanded.
Yeah.
And they moved out to basically the country. And before they had a building, but it was like dirt. And they decided to start a farmer's market. And a very, 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 very good friend of mine, Hannah. How you doing, Hannah? Uh, Hannah, she tapped me and she said, "Listen, we're going to start this farmer's market. We're teaming up." She was working for Sustainable Sandhills at the time. And she said, "We're putting together a farmer's market. I think you should be a vendor." And I was like, "No." I was like, "Absolutely not. I am not doing this. It's hot." At the time she asked me, I think it was like March, and she was like, "Yeah, we're going to do it all the way up until October." And I was like, "So I got to commit to all my Sundays? I don't get one Sunday to myself." And so we had a discussion about it, and she really was adamant. She was like, "I really think this will change your life. I think this will be great." So I was like, "Okay, cool, dude. I'm gonna listen to you," because Hannah always challenges
Mhm.
me. So I did it. And the first time we went out there, like their very first market, it was the Strawberry Festival. And we did phenomenal. We sold out of everything.
Wow.
And then we came back the following day because it was a weekend event and we sold out of everything again. And I was just like, holy cow. And we kept coming back and people kept buying a lot of stuff. Like they kept buying. Hannah introduced me to the owners of Dirtbag, and one of the owners Tito, he actually is from my hometown. And he went to the same high school my mom taught at, and his wife went to the same high school my brother went to.
Oh my
So
goodness.
very, very small world. After that, I was like, okay, so they're family. So I had been a vendor at Dirtbag for 3 years before I was in the position of getting my food truck. And then I got my food truck, and this will be our second year as a food truck at Dirtbag. So
Okay.
I think when it comes down to getting these connections, when it comes down to being able to get booked for these vendor events and stuff like that, it is a who do you know?
Okay.
Who is in your corner and who is rooting for you, who believes in what you're doing, who believes in your product, who believes in your services, who believes in you. Because the people that believe in you, they're the ones who are putting you on. Those are the people that are saying your name in rooms that you're not in.
Mm.
And that value, that's how you grow your business. Like that's how it happens. And that's why it's so important, any interaction that you have, that it is a positive one, because I don't know how many times just being nice, doors have been open for me. So, yeah.
That's amazing when I hear that story because I didn't know that Hannah was behind that, but I should have known
Oh, yeah.
because she was such an influencer during her time here.
Oh,
And
yeah.
part of what you said about, this building relationships and networking and
Yes.
just being kind is
Just being
so
kind.
important. It's just so
Yeah.
important to how we do business and just how we move through this world and how we live our lives. So again, for those people that are just joining in or that are watching this on the replay, we are with Mrs. Stacie Simfukwe, who is the owner of Household Six. Stacie, how did you get the name Household Six Catering?
Okay, so Household Six is the call sign of the military spouse. It actually happened. My husband, we were on our way home from something, and he said that one of his coworkers asked him to go out and do something, and he was like, "Whoa, I got to check in with Household Six first." But Household Six is the commander of the household.
Okay.
So that's where that comes from. And catering is because we cater to the people around us. We cater to feed everybody and make sure everybody is good to go. So Household
Okay.
Six cater. Yeah.
Okay. I thought I remembered you telling that story, but I said, oh, people need to share this. Because again, being a military spouse puts a different twist on your entrepreneurship than
Oh,
it would
yeah.
on mine because um, you knew you had to have something that was mobile, something
Right.
that if you had to pick up and move, which I hope you never do, but if you have to move, you'll be able to take it with you.
Yes. Well, entrepreneurship is all risk.
Yeah, sure.
And people don't think about that it literally is all risk. And I remember when I was discussing with my husband that I wanted to move forward and start my business, he was just like, "No, do it when I retire. Like wait." And at the time, it was like 10 years until he retires, and I was
Uh,
just like, No, I'm not doing that. Uh, we're going to do this now. And if I fall on my face, then I have enough time to recover.
okay.
But I need to go ahead and I need to do this. I need to see where this is going to take me. I need to see if I have the stuff to be an entrepreneur, because this life is not for everybody.
Mm,
Um, and I wanted to challenge myself. And the biggest thing is I wanted to set an example for my daughter. I wanted her to see, listen, you can do it. You can do anything you want to do. You just have to work. And if you're willing to work for it, that's it.
okay. And I love having this conversation now because, folks, as you know, this is National Women's Small Business Month. So talking to, the owner of Household Six is fantastic. And then as you talk about the bringing your children into the business and especially your daughter, this is International Day of the Girl.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes, they've been talking, on the different talk shows and what have you. They've been having all kinds of guests on talking about nonprofits that young women have started, how they're giving back to the world in different capacities. So the fact that your daughter, I mean, she's been, like you said, you started this business when she was 2. So she has
Mhm.
seen this from the ground up
She
and
has.
has seen it continue to bloom and to blossom and to grow, and has seen probably the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah. so, so she's learning so much. So have any of your children talked about being an entrepreneur?
All of them.
All
All
of
of them. They all have talked about it. Kids they're in and out.
yeah.
Sometimes it's really, really good. My middle son, he was a little entrepreneur, and we had a little incident. This is back in the day where rubber band bracelets, everybody had rubber band
Yeah.
bracelets.
Mhm.
And my son, he started a rubber band bracelet business. And how we found out was we were at the store and he pulled out a wad of money and it was like $30. And I think he was in second grade at the time. We're like, the heck you get $30 from? And he was like, Mom, I just started my business and I make rubber band bracelets. And I was just like, what? And in my head, I'm like, where was I for all of this? And we were impressed. He said, Mom, I'm going to take my $30 and I'm going to invest in a second loom to make the bracelets. And I'm going to hire some people. And I'm listening to him go through his business plan about what he's going to do next. And I'm encouraging him, like, yeah, why not? Do it. But we had to cut the cord on that when he was paying kids and bracelets to do his homework. So we had to shut that
Ooh. A
down.
real entrepreneur.
Right. He was like, I don't have time for this. I got a business to run. So
Oh my goodness.
we had to shut that down. Like, nah, no, you're going too far. You need to run your
Oh
own.
my
You need
goodness.
to do your own homework.
That's a great
Um, so
story.
so we told him no more rubber band bracelets. But he was definitely an entrepreneur in the making. And I mean, I was just so proud. And it was one of those moments as a parent where it's like you want to be upset, but you're not. And I
Mm.
was not upset with him at all. Even having kids do his homework on the surface, I was like, okay, this isn't right because you need to learn, you need to get your education. But
Right.
as just like an entrepreneur, I was like, yeah, like you don't have time to do that, delegate, you know?
Oh my God. That's so
Yeah.
funny. And I can see him with this serious face too.
Oh,
Uh
yeah. Oh, yeah.
doing that. So
He's
folks,
always plotting.
yes. So folks, I just want to explain this is the life of an entrepreneur. Stacie has dropped her daughter off at ballet lessons. So again, she is juggling. I won't say balancing, but this is what the work life looks like for an entrepreneur. You
Yeah.
have children, you still have to do things. So her daughter is taking her ballet lessons and she's waiting in the car with her and
Yeah.
having a conversation with us at the same time. So
Yeah.
that's the real life of an entrepreneur. It's not
That
all that,
part. Yeah.
cutesy stuff you see on TV. That is
Yes.
not what it is.
I
This
hear
is
a lot of people, I've heard over the years, people have said to me, "Oh, it must be nice being an entrepreneur because, you can get up when you want to, you can work when you want to, you can set your own hours, you can do this." And it's just like, no, like you don't set your own hours. You are working all the time. You may set your own hours when it comes down to dealing with customers, but
Mhm.
even then, it's not always the same. Sometimes I mean, I had to when I first started my business, I was definitely burning my candle. Um, phone. Definitely burning my candle at both ends. Um, oh, hold on a second. I think they're looking for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna take you with me. Um,
Okay.
but I was burning my candle at both ends.
Oh,
Um,
I know. I can imagine. I can imagine.
get my kid. She's done with class,
Okay.
and now we're trying to see where she is.
Tracy just
Listen,
Tracy just had another comment. She said the hustle and grind is real. Yes, it
yeah,
is. Yes, it is.
we were right there the whole time. You know, girl, I'm here. You know. All right. See you. I know. Dr. B, here's my precious baby girl.
Hi, how are
Say
you,
hey.
Stephanie? Hi. She
Yes.
hasn't seen me. I haven't seen her in so long. Well,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's been a
You see how
while.
tall she is? Like, look at
I
this.
know. I know.
Ridiculous. She's not allowed to grow up like that.
No,
Um,
that was fast. That was
oh, yeah.
fast.
But I mean, this is the life that we signed up for, right?
Right. Right. So Tracy is telling us in our audience that she just started a new business. So Tracy, tell us about your business. What
Yeah.
did you start doing? Throw that up in the chat so we can see if we can give you a few pointers here and there because so actually Tracy had a business before you remember Tracy and was it Jasmine from Methodist University, and they started a business to help kids
Okay.
with test prep.
Okay.
So they were in bugs way back when. So I don't know if you really remember them. They Yeah, it's been a while. So
It's been a while.
Tracy's saying that she started a business as a florist. So
Awesome.
I'll be looking for that. And the name of the business is Divine Design Floral Arrangements.
Awesome.
Okay. Go on, Miss Tracy. Out there doing it up and getting ready for the next stage of your life.
Right. Does she have a storefront or how's she working that?
Yeah, how are you doing this, Tracy? What does this look like? Or is it still very much in the planning stages? So she'll get back to us with that. So Stacie, if you had to give advice to somebody who is starting their business, what would you tell them?
I have like a book. Um, the biggest thing I would tell somebody that's starting a business, make sure it's something that you are excited about even when you're tired.
Mm.
It has to be something that when you can't wait to get out of bed to do it, and when you go to bed you're still thinking about it, and you're still trying to improve, and you're still trying to grow it, and you're still trying to think of ways to be more innovative. When you wake up and you just can't wait to do what you do, that's really what it is. Don't ever base. I tell people that find something that you love to do and then figure out how to make money from it. Because if you do something for the sake of the money, you're going to be miserable. You know, it's always going to be about the bottom line. There are some days Household Six has killed it and we are making so much money. And then there's some days where we're just like, okay, so how am I gonna pay this bill? How am I gonna, I don't know how we are going to pay this business credit card off. I don't know how we're going to pay this vendor fee. Like, it's even gotten that bad before.
Yeah.
So, when it comes down to it, it has to be something that you love to do regardless. You can't wait to do it. You can't wait. I can't wait to hop on my food truck.
Yeah.
I would be doing it every day because I honestly love doing it.
Okay, so you hear that, folks. Has to be something that you love doing. I mean, that's like with me. I love working with kids. I love helping kids make their educational plans, post high school, because I think every kid needs a plan before they get out of high school. And I've firmly believe that education is transformative. So I'm all about kids getting accurate information, getting good information, and knowing that they have options.
Oh
Knowing
yeah,
that they have
that's my
options.
favorite word.
Yeah, knowing that they have options. So Tracy is telling us that right now she's working from home, and she started in May. So
Oh
she's
yeah,
getting started. So because she's still working a full-time job.
yeah.
So she's still working a full-time job. So thank you for that, Tracy. You will have to you'll have to give us some social media or some other way that we can help you promote your business.
Right.
So
She
one of
might
the things,
consider doing vendor events and stuff like that. There's a vendor at a Dirtbag that's a florist, and I mean,
okay.
she's killing it right now. Everybody walks away with like a bundle of some of her most beautiful blooms. And
Oh,
I,
okay.
I'm not a cut flower type person.
Mhm.
I like plants. I like it, if you see all the plants I have, you'd just be like, wow. So I'm a plant person, but I mean, I can't even deny how beautiful it looks.
Right.
Her setup, um, especially when you get that beautiful, you know, bouquet of flowers. You're just like, oh my gosh, you know.
Yeah, that is so true. So
Yeah,
Tracy is saying that thank you for the encouragement. Yes, Tracy, that
yeah,
that's one thing that I think I've learned along this entrepreneurship route is that it's so important to cheer each other on because we're all in this together. And when somebody else is doing well, that makes me so happy. That
oh
makes
yeah,
me so happy, because it's all about all of us. Because if we're all, if we all do good, everything just gets better in the world.
it
You
does.
know, it's about bringing each other along and helping out whenever we can.
Oh yeah.
So Stacie, one of the things I always like to do is to ask folks about a book. And you did give us a book that you said was a book that you would recommend, and the name of the book is Ego is the Enemy. So tell me,
Right.
why do you recommend that book to folks?
Because Ryan Holiday, he was actually the protege of Robert Greene. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Robert Greene, but he wrote the 48 Laws of Power.
Okay.
And he helped him research that book and things of that nature. And he basically promotes a stoic lifestyle. And the reason why I picked that book in particular is because sometimes people get to the point where they think they're so big that they can't fail. And
Mm,
that's nothing but ego. Ego is not going to pay the bills. Ego is not going to put a roof over your head. It's not going to secure anything. You have to be conscious. You always have to be conscious and present in your moment and stay humble as far as appreciating what you have and what you've accomplished. I think ego is just a negative side of it. So, well, that book, Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, it's one of my favorite. His other book, The Obstacle is the Way, that's another book I recommend. Um, it definitely helps you kind of to rethink how you're doing what you're doing in your life, whether you're an entrepreneur or anything else. It makes you think and make you more aware of your ego, making sure you don't let it get out of control. You know what I mean?
hmm That is so important. That is so important. And I love what you said about um, you're never too big to fail because we're looking at not that it's fail, but we're looking at the challenges that a company like Facebook
Yeah,
is facing right now.
yeah.
Um, I remember, thinking, watching the whistleblower Sunday night on 60 Minutes, and I'm like,
Hmm.
wow. And then the next day they had that major outage, and I,
Yeah,
okay, okay, something's going on here that we're not privy to, but
right,
that's how it
right.
is. But I do like what you're saying about that book. So folks, remember, Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. And again, I'll make sure I put that in the show notes so that you can always go back and say, what was that book that Stacie was talking about? You can always go back to the show notes, or you can always watch the video again and make sure that you get the name of that book. So so Stephanie's in the car.
She is. She's chilling.
If would she like to say anything about being an entrepreneur, or she's not ready
Yeah.
to get on camera?
You okay, baby girl? Can you talk about being an entrepreneur? I'm sorry, it's dark. It's dark. We're in our car.
I know.
Um, Mommy, you want to talk about being an entrepreneur?
I mean, she
Like
doesn't have
helping
to. I
mommy
don't want to put her
on
on
the
the
truck?
spot. It's fun. What is your favorite part of working on the truck?
I get to socialize with people.
Okay. Okay. So do you ever want to have a business of your own?
Yes.
Do you know what you'd like to do?
Yes.
Could you tell us what you think?
Pastries.
Oh, you would like to do pastries. Okay. So what do you have a name already picked out for your business, or is that still a way off?
That's still way off.
Okay. All right. So we're going to be looking for your business in, maybe about 7 to 10 years. So good luck with it. And thank you for talking with us this evening. We appreciate it.
Okay, baby girl.
Yes, she did a great job. She did a great
Yes,
job of being put on the spot. I appreciate her so much.
yes. She's
Um,
a good girl. She makes me so proud.
she's grown so much. I mean, God, I remember when she was little. I mean, really
Yes.
little, really little. So we appreciate so much that you were here with us this evening. I know you've got to get everyone home, and I know, like you said, Mondays is your crazy day before you know getting everything prepped and what have you. So I appreciate you so much being here, sharing your story during National Women's Small Business Month, and also showing that representation matters. We have there's so many intersections in your family. We have this proud Black family. We have a military family that is out there taking care of business, and it's so
Absolutely.
important that people get to hear your story because it may help someone else out there as they're trying to make decisions on what they want to do.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
again, Stacie, thank you so much for being here this evening, and I hope you and Steffi and the kids and have a wonderful evening. And we're going to sign off now, but I want you to stay on for a minute. And
Okay.
folks, thank you so much. Those of you that joined in, those of you that are watching this on the replay, let me just share my screen like one more time because I want you to go to um, Household 6, get some of that great granola so that you can have a little bit of it and taste it. So I want to make sure that you get on there and get some of that great granola. So again, Household 6 Catering, you can get all kinds of granola. And as you see here at the top of the screen, you are able to order online, and you can also get gift cards, and you can also follow them on Instagram. So folks, go ahead and try it. Like I said, honey almond is my favorite flavor. Um, so my birthday just passed, but still take a gift. So again, thank you so much, Stacie. I so appreciate you being here, and I'm thrilled that things are working out for you with the food truck,
Oh, thank
and that
you.
you're able to continue growing. So, folks, I will see you next Monday evening, and hopefully we will be continuing having conversations for National Women's Small Business Month. So take care, everyone, and see you next Monday evening. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.